Welcome, mere mortals, to another conversation. I recently had a totally unexpected chat with Miguel Sant'ana. Miguel is a hand balancer who has reached an absolute peak level of movement of the body and being able to master gravity in essence. I've seen him go upside down in a handstand, one-arm handstand for 5 minutes, switching around, just absolute amazing stuff. So in this conversation, we talked a little bit about hard work. How does one get to such a level where you can do something as extreme as a one-arm handstand and just do it effortlessly? As well as, I suppose, the mindset that's required and discipline, things you have to really focus on to be able to get to such a level. We also talked a little bit about his background coming from Brazil and why he chose handstanding and focused on it so much, almost to the point of saying, you know, this is my chance, this is my ability to make something of myself in the world, as well as a little bit about dealing with stress. Brazil at the moment is going through the coronavirus pretty hard, and so Miguel talks a little bit about training when you're under such stress, how to listen to your body and feel it. At the very end of the conversation, we've also had a little add-on because we forgot the name of one of the podcasts he also has been on and who helped him out. So other than that, I bring you Miguel Sant'ana. Miguel, thanks for appearing in a Mere Mortals conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries, man. So we'd like to kick off with a Mere Mortal moment. So do you have an introspection from, I guess, the past week or any time?
Not really, not necessarily. I mean, just coming here, I think, is the biggest. Wow. I mean, coming from Melbourne, you know what's happening there, what happened there.
Yep.
It's definitely probably the only thing I would. Is excited to be here.
Exactly.
I think this is already strong enough.
Yeah. Well, you were mentioning how different it was, the feel of coming here, and it was just, you know, no one's wearing face masks. We're all shaking hands, bumping hands.
Yeah. I mean, it feels good to be into this environment, you know, like teaching in class today in person. I mean, that was incredible.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the online, don't take me wrong, but in person is just a different thing. It's something about it that is just, it's just nice, you know.
Yeah.
Connect with people actually, you know, like, no, this is what I mean. It's not that what I mean, you know.
For sure.
Probably,
it's nice.
That's the most exciting thing, and about this week.
Awesome. So we met 2 days ago, just randomly here in Raymond Park, doing some exercise. And for those who don't know who you are, you're Miguel Sant'ana. You've got a hand balancer. Go to your Instagram. You've got some very impressive videos, and you can see all the cool things there. I also listened to a couple of podcasts you've done recently, so with Jacinta Robinson and Fearless, and I didn't catch the guy's name, but Agatsu physical.
Agatsu, that was with what's his name? Sarah, his wife.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, everyone but his name.
Off the name.
That's right. I'll put some text here so people know. But I thought that really covered, I guess, your sort of story getting into hand balancing and whatnot. So I'm just going to dive straight in. When we met, you already impressed me with the fact that it's like you just flew in from Melbourne and like the first thing you're doing is like, I'm going to go do some handstands. I'm going to go practice. So I wanted to ask, what does hard work mean to you? And it's not just in the sense of handstanding, but, you know, hard work with business, with, personal life and things like that.
Hard work, discipline. I think is one complement the other. Hard work is actually you put the hands on the ground and actually put the work and the hours in, but necessarily not just doing particular exercise like a today or that day. I came straight in was more discipline than actually hard work, because I gotta do what I gotta do. Hard work for me would be more the intensity of work, but you have to have the discipline with, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hard work is be able to keep up something for a long period of time. Consistent with not just a level, but actually elevating the level as you progress into your practice. So you want to do hard work, for example, you do one muscle up. That's a hard work to get into the muscle up. You have to be consistent in particular things to be able to do that. But then it's harder work to maintain, and it's harder work to add reps on top of that So I think that's what's hard work.
Yeah.
It's a both, you know, physically and also the discipline side of it's not point to do hard work one day
Yeah.
and that's about it. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying it's like hard work without discipline wouldn't be a hard work.
Yeah.
What's the point come here and do 100 handstand push-up and then not do 100 in a year? It's like that guy I mentioned, the guy in the park. He's like, oh, I'm a talent guy. I can just do this.
Yeah.
That's not hard work.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's taking advantage of his talent,
Yeah.
you know.
And so I suppose one of the things that comes with hard work as well, or that gets talked about a lot, is, you know, grinding, pushing yourself to the limit, and almost overtraining in a sense. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on, you know, you've reached a very high level in handstanding, but you've also had some serious injuries doing that in the process. Well, what are your thoughts in terms of, you know, giving 100% each session, or potentially even, you know, scaling back a little bit and leaving a little bit in the tank so you can do consistency? How do you find that balance?
Well, I didn't find that on the good way.
Yeah.
I found that actually it was probably after a year practice handstand on a regular basis. And how did I find come with the wrist, come with... I mean, it's not actually... It's more the ego, man. It's just the ego. No, I can do more. I can do more. I look that guy. I can do that. You know, like, I think it's more the ego. But if you train it smart, if you start to understand, and if you have someone helping you, even better, to know what is good for you, so you have the extra to... So again, hard work is consistent, right? Coming back to the hard work. You know what your week train is gonna be like. What's the point I can do, and then you have to recover for another week.
Yeah.
So yes, you need to train smart, man. You need to know your limits. You definitely, because your strength is built on top of fatigue, but you can't burn you off that you have to go to ice bath for 5 days in a row because you screw up your practice. So
Yeah.
it took me a while until I got to that point that, like, okay, I know what my limit is. I know how to train smart. Okay, to get particular skills, like I was just mentioned before, 10 handstand push-up. Okay, I have 1 minute handstand push-up. Oh, I have 1 minute handstand, but I want to achieve a 10 handstand push-up that would take me maybe 75 seconds to perform that many reps. So I start to play around with things that more common sense, going back in track to move forward in other skills. And that's what I've been doing for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
And training a little bit more smart and understand, going back in track to see what makes sense to do more than the other things.
Yeah. So with that consistency, I'm guessing you're like all of us mere mortals, where you don't wake up every day and every day you're energized, you're pumped to go out. What do you think about, I guess, motivation, sort of turning it into a practice? How can you get consistent?
Habit, you mean?
Yeah.
Consistent.
Is there anything you particularly did to say, you know, it sounded like you did handstands every day for X number of years. Well, how would you go about it when you were coming up to a day, or there would be a day where it's just like, I don't want to do this?
Well, first, knowing how to train. You know, second, having that discipline that you know you got to train no matter how tired, how bad you are. Or, you know.
So just with that, how do you think is there something in your brain that you either turn on or even turn off? Like it's, because you'll get all those thoughts coming in saying, you know, my wrists are really hurting
it's like,
today.
Oh, maybe I just stay on Netflix.
Yeah.
I had to say it does a lot, more than used to, because before, up to maybe a couple of years ago, you're still looking forward to your practice, like, oh, I want to learn this skill, I'm working this, maybe it's going to happen today. So that's one thing that keep you actually going, no matter how tired and how, because you have something bigger driving you to that. But then at this stage, after COVID, you know, you have to train at home all the time, the motivation start to drop. It's not much things to look at because you can't go out, you can't do anything. I have to say that the motivation has dropped, but lucky enough, I have a very nice community that keep me, like I teach. I'm not going to ask you to work hard or while I'm sitting my ass. And I know that you struggle with motivation. How can I lie to myself? And how can I lie to my student? Not lie, but come on, you got this, you got. It's just I teach through passion and through with my own experience. So I do have these days, and I say I do struggle like everybody else does. But I'm very like that. I have so many positive things to keep me pushing, you know. So this is thing is the community, is a skill that you want to achieve so bad, or you want to keep so bad. It's something that you felt one day before that it's like, oh, I want to feel that again. You know. So things like these, I think, keep me going. Social media sometimes does. You see that guy doing that trick or that particular way, you're like, oh, this is interesting, and we try that. So
the trick with social media, I think, is to not let it get to that stage where it makes you feel bad. It's very hard, because sometimes you can see someone doing something and you can't do it right now, and so like you're saying with the ego, it's I can't do that, he's better than me, and then goes the negative train of thoughts.
I mean, I think this is a big thing in hand balance, and I think it should be in every discipline. You start to accept your own self, like what you can do and what you can't. Before I was practice a lot through my ego, man. It's like, no, I can't, and that's why my wrist got bad, because I was doing way more than I could handle. But then the day I accept, it's okay. Tomorrow, you're gonna have to work again, and tomorrow, you're gonna have to work again. Today is like 5 p.m. What's the point me be upset because I didn't do my full program in the park? Tomorrow, less than 24 hours, I'm gonna do it again. And so this is a thing that I take with me a lot. I definitely try to make my practice, it's pretty much like a full-time job. I clock in and I clock out. A lot of people can't do that. And this is a thing that I think is so important to move on, because you're gonna feel bad. You're gonna look, you're like, and this is gonna drive you down. And then if you don't have that on the why, how is having, for example, someone that suffer with anxiety? Can you imagine if the anxiety wasn't there, how life would be good? Can you imagine if a problem that is current that, not that, how things would be? So in your practice, that anything mentally or physically, I mean, it's more mentally usually to mentally stop you to practice or get better. I think in everything you do. And if you can't take that off, nobody's going to be able to take that 100%. But the higher percentage that you take that off, and you can just move on. You can just move on. I mean, I don't know what you think about it, but that's how I think about it. When you just don't practice with that ego that you want to be better than that particular guy. You want to be, you want to achieve that trick, but don't necessarily, I want to work hard to be better than you, I'm very lucky I got that out of my way in quite early stage of my practice, and like I'm happy to practice with you. I'm happy to practice in the park with everybody, and doesn't matter. Oh yeah, I can do a little bit trick than people cannot do. Doesn't mean anything. Means that I'm struggling. I'm on my fight. Exactly the same you in your fight, and that's why I appreciate every single practice, no matter you do, because you're struggling. If you're hardworking. And I'm here. It looks easy. No, it doesn't look easy, man. It looks easy for you, but I'm there and I'm fully there, So
that mentality, I think it's pretty similar to me, and I've had this, I think, since I was a kid. So I used to play soccer, and I never struggled going to soccer practice. I'd hear my teammates complaining or something, but for me it was always
it was just this discipline is just there, right?
Just Tuesday evening I'm going to practice, Thursday evening going to practice. And so I was wondering if you could take us back to young Miguel in Brazil. Did you still have obviously you weren't hand balancing back then, but you were doing other things. Did you have that same mentality then?
I have to say, I've never thought about it, but maybe thinking about it, I never had the passion of anything at this level when I was young. but I always was disciplined. No matter what I tried to do, I would try to do good. As far as this level of discipline, I never had that, because I never had that passion of anything else back home. Back home, it's not much opportunity there, especially in the back in the day. It's not cell phone, it's not internet. I didn't have a computer, man. I didn't have a computer until I was 21 years old. You know, like, I didn't have a video game back home. I was just work. I started work as a 14. Work, study, work, study, work, study, work, study.
Yeah.
And you would play sports in school, but you play because you have to, and that's it. And then when you did armed service, probably was the closest of the discipline that I got today. I was on time, always shaved, trying to be as standard as possible.
Yeah.
But as far as, yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. So we seem to have that in common, and that was something we were just, I guess, born with. You've taught a lot of students now, and I'm guessing you've had students who aren't super disciplined. How would, and I guess you've had ones who weren't super disciplined and then became disciplined. What do you think changed in them, and how they managed to get that discipline? Have you got any insights as a teacher in regards to that?
Yeah, discipline is something that's always can improve, you know. But in my training, in my teaching, is what I try to do the most with my students. No matter what's your program, what I need from my students is the discipline, is to show up and do the program. The other day, one of my students asked, Miguel, one day I want to be one of your best students. And I'm like, you know what? You already are. What do you mean? I still on the wall and blah, blah, blah. No. This doesn't make you a worse student, because you can't do what someone can do better. You, every week you show up, and it's not blah, 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 blue, blue, blue. It's not excuse. Low C, I'm here. It's 4:30. Every Tuesday, 4:30. The call is on. It's not, oh, Miguel, can we change this class? Miguel, can you? So I think, yeah, I mean, that's what I try to do, man. It's not just how good you are, or how, it's to show up, do the work, go away. People want to go sick all the time. People want to discipline. It's hard, because I'm not the teacher for everybody, because sometimes I'm a little bit too hard on that fact, you know, like, it can be boring. It can hit the plateau very easily. Very easily. So, guys, come on, you got to keep doing. I've been pretty much doing the same program for 5 years. Exactly the same thing. 4 minute handstand. 1 minute one arm handstand. 1 minute one arm handstand. Switch. How? But the thing is, you have to look the practice differently. You have to, because every single day the same skill feel different. So I take these things with my own experience, and like, guys, this is exactly how I do. I know it feels that way, but you gotta keep doing. Don't just look, oh, your line is better today. Oh, that's a good day. It's not good day and bad day trainings, man. If you got the program, it's a good day if you went to your program.
Yeah.
Does feel good. Some days feels better than the other, but doesn't mean it's going to be a bad day and I'm depressed and I just want to quit this handstand thing. I do feel like that, but again, man, today is 5 p.m. Just forget about your practice, mate. Tomorrow you're going to do it again. And then hard work again. Discipline. So guys, come on, you can do it. So it's pretty much as my passion, trying to keep my student, making them believe in themselves. Because the student always want to run away, man. The student always want to excuse themselves. Of course, I don't lock you into my method. You don't have that pressure. But if we're here to do it right. We're here to do the way I believe in, you know. Yeah. Oh, no, but this doesn't work for me. No, it does. That's you. Then that's me, you know, like, yes, we can do that. So it's true. Only speaking and trying to compare other students or lifestyle and trying to keep them motivated and well disciplined.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned you had a couple of different jobs growing up. What were you doing back in Brazil? You were in the army, for example.
Yeah, I did well because army is compulsory.
In
when
Brazil,
when you're 18, so I couldn't run away from that. When I was 14, I started on the delivery, so on a bike delivery. It's like a Deliveroo.
Yeah.
But I used to work in like a bookstore where you just delivering
books all day.
delivering. Or just delivering, going to banks, paying bills and stuff like that. And then I moved to the pharmacy, so medicine, delivering medicine. And then I left Brazil, I was 18. And then in the first country I lived in was Spain. I work as a how I say, concierge. It's like someone that stay on the garage. Concierge.
Yeah, I think so. Concierge.
Concierge. Yeah. So you're just on the garage, letting people in. And hi, good morning. How you doing? So I did that. I did washing up, collecting glass in nightclubs in London, and then I moved to the gardening area where I work in a cemetery for a couple of years in UK, just cutting grass. Maintaining the cemetery, more the landscape of it, not the digging in, not just actually the grass and the landscape of it. And then from there, I moved to New Zealand, the same thing, privately, gardening privately, and then that's when handstand came along and took over everything.
Yeah, changed your life. Yeah.
So I didn't do any sport when pretty much between 16 until I was 22.
Wow.
I didn't do anything. I was just job to job. In UK, like I working 14 hours a day and 2 hours on the public transport between jobs and just trying to survive.
Yeah, and I think that work ethic, probably helped you with your handstanding as well, which is, you've done, how to do work. It doesn't really matter what it is, but putting in the work, it transfers.
Putting the work. My mom don't have to call me telling me that I have to work if I want to get a nice car, if I want to pay my rent, if I want to. I was never to do that. I was never be able to do that until I left. I was 18. Until I was 30 years old.
So just on that leaving part, so I traveled through South America and I've seen, I guess, some of the good parts and the bad parts. And what triggered that leaving for you? What made you say, like, I need to go out from Brazil?
I didn't want to go to university. And then back home is, my parents old school, you have to be doctor or lawyer, otherwise it's not good enough.
Yeah, it seems like education, this is very true in Colombia, where my ex was from. Education was like the main priority. It was just this huge thing. It was a way of, I guess, escaping from the lower levels, or what would really distinguish.
Going to university, you have to. So not different back home, and literally I have a best friend, Miguel. I'm leaving. I was 18 years old. I'm leaving too. So my parents was okay with that. I mean, not okay, but they knew that I don't want to go to school, and that's what was the first reason why I left.
Yeah.
Because I took the opportunity that my best friend leaving. I didn't want to go to school, university. Didn't want to do the normal thing. So I left, and here I am. 14 years later.
Yeah, it goes by quick, doesn't it?
It goes quick, man. Especially doing what you love,
That's it. So speaking of home life, this the last thing I wanted to talk about was, you mentioned to me just before, you're from Brazil, and they're going through a real tough time with the coronavirus right now. So stress-wise on you, having family back home, and that situation must be very hard. You've also got a family. You're a family man now. How do you deal with stress and I guess just in general when life makes things full of pressure on you?
My practice helped me a lot. My practice do help me a lot. Sometimes my father just got COVID. Last week, for example, it was a tough week where I couldn't practice because I was so intense in my head that I wasn't in a mind space to give into my practice. It's been tough there, man. It's been really, really tough. I can't even explain. You know, like until you in it. I don't even know. I mean, my practice is one thing that keep me alive, you know, like keep me going, keep me trying to be focused. My job is another, my wife. And you work for my parents, man. I work for my parents at the moment, you know, and for my wife. That's all I do. You know, if you come to my training right now, I'm building, I'm helping my parents build a home in Brazil. And that's what it is. I have nothing myself, but hopefully one day I will start to be able to do that. But at the moment, yeah, what keep me motivated and really going is my parents, my community, my practice,
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's probably a lot of what drove you, not even just this really stressful time at the moment, but, you know, when you were first starting to learn hand balancing and seeing like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's people counting on you, you know, like it's counting on you, because if I don't work harder here, how things gonna move on back home? Like my parents are not able to do that. They can't afford, even if they're working, but they're not even working now because they're looking after themselves. So that's one reason why, like, damn, I have to work twice as harder. I got married last year. Damn, I'm not alone anymore. Oh, I wanna work to get this particular thing, material thing that doesn't matter. But now, okay, if I get this, okay, I need to work harder, because I have wife, and you want to provide good, you know. So yeah.
So just you mentioned just then, like, you were very stressed out, and so you did take a little time off from your training. That's one thing I sort of struggle with, which is that I need to, you know, I'm training every day. I'm going to go, you know, every day. But then there are times when you are under a lot of stress, and you know, that's when you're going to get injured, when you're all tied up. Your headspace is very different.
That's right.
Do you have a way of feeling or knowing when maybe is a time I should take off the gas a little bit?
I don't know. It's very natural. Like last week, I was very anxious. Man, my head, I couldn't stop thinking about my parents back home. Worry about why? Because there's so much excitement things happening there, you know, like building the home for the whole family to come and spend time in it. We never had that. We never had that. And it was always a dream. And, man, it's hard to talk about, to be honest, because, yeah, it's really hard to talk about this, because it gets personal. You don't even know. You don't know. You just know that's the anxiety is so bad. The practice is going to be a bad day. It's going to be a bad day. You're going to go to handstand. You're not present. When you know you're not present, just do something else, man. Just go for a walk. Go spend time with your wife, with your girlfriend, someone close to you. Go and visit your parents if you can while you have them, because it's not point. Your practice is going to be that tomorrow, man. Yeah. Your practice will be that tomorrow. Doesn't mean you are bad in discipline. What about you? You go to practice, you hurt yourself. How many days you're going to have to be off? And how bad? You have the anxiety already on top of it, plus an injury on top of that. It's the worst thing in your life. You have anxiety because your parents are sick, and you have anxiety because you can't train in something that you love to do. But you not just love to do, you need to do because it's extra pressure, because it's your work. So you need to take that ego away sometimes and just inhale and exhale and be a little bit more grounded, so you can pick those moments. No, this is not right.
Yeah, and be very clear on your priorities. I think, you know, what really is it that matters the most in life.
I mean, in training, it's don't necessarily. Okay, you got anxiety. You know your practice is gonna be shit. Maybe go and today like this, just hanging around people that do what you love, close to what you love the most. I think is a great thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect place to end it. You've got to run off soon. So Miguel, thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you, to be here, Kieran. I'm glad that we made it happen. Yeah, we make it happen. And this is, I think it's a beautiful setup, and hope you
That's
guys
it, man.
enjoy. Hope you get something that you can take on board and help you grow. And
for sure. And so if people wanted to get in contact with you, know a little bit more, where's the best place of
the best
doing
place is on Instagram, Miguel_hand_balance. That's the easiest.
You do classes and coaching and
I do at the moment. Is more mainly the online coaching, one-on-one and group when it's the event. But just now, this is the first time in Australia. Since
this year, basically,
since March, that I'm trying to visit the city. So this week here, next weekend in Sydney. Hopefully, we will be booking more starting next year. And who knows?
Who knows what's beyond that? Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
We're back again. We've remembered the name. It's Sean. Sean from Agatsu Physical Culture. That was a really good podcast. I really enjoyed listening to that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was so random talking about. I was in Bali. And it's like, Miguel, let's do it. And I was like, yeah. And then, Sean, lovely work. Sarah, his wife, we met in Hong Kong. And they're still doing amazing. They're very good at what they do, kettlebell training and all that stuff, martial arts. And there
we go. Awesome.